All right, what's up, guys? I'm going to teach you a little something today, and I got this. I can't take credit for it. Direct from Bob Proctor, my boy Bobby P, just teaching us how this stuff works. And so, talking about today, we're going to be talking about going from the negative side of life to the positive side of life, a negative mindset to a positive mindset, going from a negative way of living, being, and thinking to a positive way of living, being, and thinking. So if you're watching this and you recognize, I've realized that a lot of people will recognize that, man, I am negative. I do slant negative. Maybe this is something you've never thought about. Maybe to you it's like, no, Travis, I don't do that. I'm a very positive person. Well, let's listen to this. I want to show you guys some things that opened my eyes, and I wanted to open yours as well, because the truth is you can flip from negative to positive like that and get a completely different result. It's an outlook, a shift, a paradigm shift, as we talk about. So I'm going to go through this with you, and this is going to open your eyes, like I'm saying, like I'm telling you. Share this with other people. If you watch this and it clicks with you and you think of other people like, man, they got to see this, do it. Share it with them. Let's get this knowledge out here. Again, this is straight from my boy Bobby P teaching this stuff, but it also lines up with scripture, which I'll get to in here in a minute. So first, I'm going to talk about the negative. When a negative thought happens, this right here, let me make this clear here. This right here, this is a representation of the mind. People have said, I don't understand, or they'll put it like this: the mind is different than your brain. All right, let me set this up for you. Your brain is just a body part. It's just like your arm, your elbow, your finger, your nose. It's a body part. Now, your mind is not your brain. Your mind is different than your brain. And this illustration here, this diagram, this is your mind. Okay. The bottom part here, this is your up top's your conscious mind. This is your subconscious mind here. All right. The Bible refers to this as your heart. When you hold something, a thought in your heart, in your subconscious, when you dwell on it in your conscious mind, when you dwell on a thought, what happens is it moves down to your heart, and then it manifests itself in your physical body, and you produce a result. This is how everything flows. Quick example. If you think you're getting sick and you have the thought, man, I'm getting sick, you hold that in your subconscious mind, you hold that thought long enough, dwell on it long enough, it moves down into your heart, down into your subconscious. It becomes the way you think, and 100% this is guaranteed it will begin to manifest itself through your physical body, and then you'll produce that result. You will produce the result, those symptoms, the dis-ease, the things that you've been dwelling on. It's just how this all flows. But you can do that same thing in the positive. And as I'm explaining this to you, you're thinking of things where you've done that before. You've been like, yeah, that's true. Or I've seen that in my grandma or my friend or my coworker. Yeah, they always dwell on negative things and they always end up getting negative results. The things that they fear come upon them, which is also scriptural. But then you think of positive people who are happy all the time and you realize, man, they don't think on the same things I do. They don't talk like I do. They don't have the same conversations that I do. It seems like they're happy every single day. They're holding those things in their heart, in their subconscious, and it's producing itself in the physical realm. That's how this all works. So I'm going to explain kind of a little bit about the science behind all this. Now, of course, I am no Bobby P, my man Bobby Proctor, but I'm going to explain it to you in a way that's helped me. We'll keep it super simple. All right. So when a negative thought comes into our life, that's the negative sign. There's your thought. All right. When we are in ignorance, when we lack knowledge for a thing, what happens is we will have a worry or doubt filled thought. Okay. Again, that's the negative sign in here with the little thought bubble around it. We have a negative thought. We don't have understanding on something, so worry and doubt come in. If we don't do anything about it, we will hold on to the worry and the doubt. Have you ever met somebody who's a chronic worrier? Have you ever met somebody who says, "Oh, I just worry, that's who I am"? Well, what happens is it goes into their subconscious, they hold on to that, and it's going to transfer down. Oh, from their conscious, it's going to transfer down to their subconscious or their heart. And what happens if it stays there, whatever you hold in your heart, your subconscious will inevitably manifest itself on the outside. It's just a law. It's just how it works. So what happens is it brings in fear. Starts out as a little worry or doubt, doesn't seem like too big of a deal. But when you hold on to it, it manifests itself as a fear. And the Bible talks about in Timothy, talks about God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So when these things come in, you get to recognize, hey, this isn't from God. Like, this is not how he works. It's not how he operates. He does not operate on the fear side of things. He operates on the faith side of things, which we'll get into in a minute. Now, the fear side of things, when you hold it in your heart, it does become a spirit of fear. When there's people who are irrationally afraid of things, that's a spirit of fear. It doesn't even make sense that they're so scared. They don't even have logical proof or evidence that that thing's going to happen. And here's one of the craziest things is both fear and faith demand that you believe something you cannot see. Now, when that fear is not dealt with, what ends up happening is it's going to move down to your physical body. You've still got the negative thought habits and patterns. It will move down to your body. And then from here, it will produce results. Okay. What are those results? Well, first thing it usually produces is anxiety. And anxiety, most people gets suppressed. Bob Proctor talks about, I believe this is true as well, that anxiety needs to be understood, not suppressed. We get into that in a minute when we get over to the knowledge side. But anxiety needs to be understood. Why? What's happening here? Why do I feel this way? What's going on? Let's examine it. Instead, today, most people who have anxiety just take it like it's it is like a disease, but it's just taken like a diagnosis, like, I have anxiety, nothing I can do. Well, what happens with that anxiety is it becomes suppressed. And then from there, it turns into depression. This is nothing new. You guys know all of this. That depression, if held onto, what does it turn into? It turns into disease. From there, that disease begins to turns into disintegration. Your body may have spelled that wrong, but your body begins to disintegrate. That's what disease does to your body. And then ultimately, not to be too morbid, but ultimately leads to death. This is what happens when you live on the negative side of things. These are the results that you get. When you have ignorance in an area, like we said over here, it puts you in a negative frame, a negative state. Worry comes into your mind because you don't understand what's happening or why it's happening or what to do about it. And when you don't have understanding, that's when you worry. When you worry and hold on to it, it moves into your subconscious, moves into your heart, and becomes fear. Or, like I said in the Bible, refers to a spirit of fear. It's how you live now. You're constantly worried, constantly concerned. Have you ever met anybody who gets a positive result or a positive outcome and then is still in fear? Like, for instance, I work with a lot of business coaching and consulting, and I'll have clients who will go make, they'll have a big month. They'll make $50,000 in a month. Some make $100,000 in a month and more. They hit their goals. They're pumped. They're excited. But then instantly, they're afraid they're not going to be able to do it again. Instantly, they're afraid they're going to lose it or go away. It'll go away, or they'll spend it incorrectly. They instantly default back to a level of fear. That's what's happening here. They go back to worrying. Okay, yes, I got the money, but what if I can't do it again? What if it goes away? What if I screw this up? Right? You put yourself in the negative state. You're staying there. And then what happens, as you've seen in the illustration, it moves to fear. It moves to your physical body. Whatever is held in your heart will eventually manifest itself on the outside. And it'll flow into these results. So no matter how successful you are, wealthy you are, you can still go through anxiety, depression, disease, disintegration, and ultimately leading to death. How many famous actors, sports stars do we know who've experienced this? Countless. You're thinking of people right now. All right. So this is the negative path. Let's talk about the positive path, and that's what we're going to focus on because that's ultimately what really matters. So over here, when you are on the positive side, you gain understanding. You have a positive thought now. When you hold on to the positive thought in your conscious mind, your conscious side of your brain, whatever you hold up there will move down to your mind, will move down to your heart, and ultimately manifest itself as faith. On the other side, you see we've got fear. Over here, we've got faith. Now, when I say understanding, what I mean is I understand what's happening now. The Bible talks about this. He talks about knowing the strategies of the enemy, knowing the strategies of the devil and how he works. So when I have understanding of that, plus my understanding of how God works and operates, I don't go to worry and doubt. I have understanding. I don't have ignorance. I have knowledge. I have knowledge of God. I know his nature. I know how he works. So if a situation or circumstance comes at me that may not look favorable, may not look good, I don't freak out. I don't panic. I don't worry. I don't go to doubt. I go to my understanding. I go to my knowledge. And I say, okay, Lord, where are you in this? Your word says XYZ. The Bible says this. I understand this is the enemy trying to get me in a place of worry, doubt, ultimately fear, so he can get me the fear results. I understand that. So I'm going to make the mental choice to stay on the positive path. All right. And that's ultimately what we get to do is we get to choose which path we want to take. Deuteronomy, I'm getting ahead of myself, but Deuteronomy 30, verse 19, you can look it up later, says, it's God talking to his people. He says, I've set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Choose life so that you may live. You get to choose. He just tells you, and even tells you which one to choose. He says, you get a path, you pick the path. Telling you choose life is way better. All right. So what happens on the positive side of things when we hold understanding, knowledge, and faith in our heart, in our subconscious? What happens? Well, just like on the negative side, it moves to our body and it begins to produce a set of results also. But let's look at the results that faith produces. It produces well-being, which is not suppressed, but expressed. You can see the opposites between the fear and the faith side of things, can't you? Which then it brings about acceleration. Things are speeding up. Things are getting better. You're getting momentum in life. Things are going well. They're going up, up, up. You're trending upward. You're accelerating, which produces at ease, not dis-ease. Which ultimately leads to creation, because you are in a creative state when you're in the positive. And that, again, leads to life, not death. And this is where that Deuteronomy 30:19 comes in. I'm telling you, choose life. I've set before you two options. Pick the good one. Pick life so that you and your descendants may live. All right. So these are obviously the results that you want. You do not want the fear side of things. All right. So as you move on the positive side, you have a positive thought because of your choice. You hold it in your heart, it moves to your body, and it produces the results that you want. So a couple things. I want you to examine this in your own life and say, which path do I choose when I get news, when I get a report, when I get something that comes my way, when I see something? Typically, you've already aligned with one of these sides, the negative or the positive, the ignorance or the knowledge side. And you may or may not realize it, but you're living this out through everything that you see. I mentioned earlier, those people who just tend to see everything in the negative. No matter how good it is, there's still a yeah, but. Hey, you just made all this money. Yeah, but I don't know if we could do it again. Yeah, but we got lucky because the market hit just perfectly. So it probably won't happen next month. Yeah, but. Probably on the negative side, if that's how you think, speak, talk, and act. On the positive side, you see things, the glass is half full. You see things on the positive, and it's okay, cool. Yeah, this happened, but that's okay because of this. Ooh, I know it's going to turn around. I know it's going to get better. Ooh, this is awesome. Lord, thank you for this. You focus on the positives. You focus on the good stuff, what you're blessed with, your blessings. You focus on those things, not on what you don't have, but you focus on what you do have. Put yourself in a state of gratitude, thankfulness to God for all this. Now, how do we gain more understanding? Because having understanding is that key to staying over on the positive side. And it's going to sound overly simple, but you gain understanding through study. For example, what you're consuming, this info that I'm teaching you, you are studying how this works. How all this works. You're studying right now. Therefore, you're gaining understanding. And once you've gained understanding, that cycle takes you to knowledge, and it takes you back to the positive outlook, the positive thoughts. Oh, I understand what's happening here. I understand I'm dwelling on the negative, so that therefore I'm going to switch over to the positive. Or like I said, with understanding the how the enemy works, how the devil works, talks about in Ephesians. I understand what you're doing here. You're trying to get me over to a place of fear, doubt, and worry. I'm going to resist that. I am not going to go there. I've made the decision that I only see things through the positive lens. Therefore, I only get the positive results of well-being, acceleration, at ease, creation, and life because I'm a positive person. You can train yourself to only live on the positive. And anytime you go to the negative, you can switch over to the positive like that. Doesn't have to be a long process. It's literally a choice. You literally choose. I make a decision to go all in on the faith side of things. That's how I live now. I do not allow myself to dwell on fear thoughts. If worry or doubt comes in, I kick it out. And instead, I go focus on what I understand. And if I don't have understanding, I go get understanding through study. Study the Bible. Read Proverbs, whatever day, read a proverb a day, and your understanding goes through the roof. So, like a classic thing I didn't grow up in church, but I started doing it when I was like 20, is whatever day it is, today is the 15th of the month. So I go read Proverbs 15. There's 31 Proverbs. There's about 31 days in most months. Go read a proverb a day and watch your understanding go through the roof. Your knowledge of God and how he operates increases. And when that happens, you stay on the positive. Stay on the positive. Do what you have to do to stay within these rails, these guardrails of the positive side. When worry or doubt comes, you need to recognize that and realize, hey, that's taken me to a path of anxiety, depression, disease, disintegration, and ultimately death. I have ignorance in the situation. I'm going to go get understanding in the situation, and I'm going to stay on the positive so that my life produces faith, well-being, acceleration, at ease, creation, and ultimately life. These are the patterns. These are the paths. You get a pick. All right. I hope this has helped you today. If you want to learn more about this, shoot me a message. All right. I've got more stuff on this. So hit me up if you want to learn more. If you need more help on staying on the positive side of things, hit me up. All right. Love you guys. See you later.